Welcome to the Teacup Brigade. We are Ivy, Lex, and Carly, formerly known as Quinn. This is Flash. He will appear in the video. And we are here to talk about current reads and tropes in various genres that we hate. We hope you enjoy.
What are you guys reading right now?
I'm reading a few things because I can never just read one thing at a time. I'm too impatient for that. So I'm reading We Hunt the Flame and The Gilded Ones and These Violent Delights. So, yeah.
I also can't read one thing at a time, but I'm also teaching. So we technically finished Fahrenheit 451, but I didn't finish it and I would like to. So I'm reading that still, and then we're reading 12th Night, where all of my classes are in between books right now, so I haven't started them, but I'm going to start The Wizard of Oz and Julius Caesar, because I love my Shakespeare, I guess. I do love my Shakespeare. But then for fun, I'm listening to The Sun Is Also a Star, and then I am reading The Radium Girls in this romance book called The Summer of Broken Rules. So, a lot.
Yeah.
I will finish probably none of it.
I'm sure you will.
I hope so.
I believe in you. I'm reading, I think it's called The Sweetness of Water. I had just finished like a really heavy book, and so like up until now I have read 21 books this year, so I'm really happy about that. But then like I kind of got stopped because I read a really heavy book, and I'm just like ugh. And Sweetness of Water so far is like a historical fiction of like Civil War, so it's just that's heavy too. So I'm slowly getting through that one. And then I'm also reading, it's a romance. This author came to my library, so I just wanted to support her. So I got her book. It's called Return to Sweetheart Lake by Evelyn Jordan. It's just a cozy romance, which is nice for now. And I'm also reading Heartstopper by Alice Osman. It was a web comic on that one app, Webtoon, I think. Yeah, it was due a week ago, so I really need to finish that. But yeah, that's what I'm reading so far.
I have Heartstopper on my TBR. I've heard great things about it, but
Me too. Yeah.
I don't know when I'll get to it because my TBR is infinitely long. Yeah, I think I'm going to finish The Gilded Ones tonight because I'm almost done with it. And I don't know if I'm going to continue the series.
Oh no.
It was pretty good, but it was just not one of my favorites, and I had a really hard time getting into it. Like, I wasn't at all involved in the characters or the story until halfway through the book. Yeah, it was like 56% that I started to get slightly interested, and now I'm at 92%, and I'm still only slightly interested. So I just don't think it was the right one for me. But I mean, it had beautiful world building. I don't know, the story was not engaging enough for me. I felt it was a little bit predictable so far. Maybe there will be some big plot twist at the end that'll like blow my mind and make me read the rest of it, but we'll see.
As we discuss tropes, we are going to talk about some things that may trigger and upset some people. So this is your content warning. If you think those things might upset you, please click on a different video on our channel and watch something else. Okay, back to the video.
The first one I listed under hate was power imbalance or experience imbalance in couples. So like in romance, sometimes like there's the more experienced one or the one that has a clear like power advantage socially over the other one. And I'm like, that's gross. And I get like even in real life, like someone's always going to be more romantically and or sexually experienced than another person that they're dating. Or like social dynamics are just always a thing. And so like someone's always going to have the upper hand in a social situation, whether it's well-meaning or not, because that's just how social humans work. When I think of that trope, I just think of my attempt to read 50 Shades of Grey and how I was like, this is gross, this is gross, this is gross, this is gross. And I just couldn't finish the book. And so like the Christian Grey Anna Steele dynamic is just, I don't jive with it. I know some people do, and that's why 50 Shades of Grey has done so well, but like, it's just not for me.
Yeah. I personally don't mind if there's a power dynamic thing in the relationship, but there has to be more to the relationship than that. If it's all just like, he's my professor and so he's so hot and there's nothing more to it than that, then it's like, there should probably be more to the relationship than that, especially because whoever has the upper hand in the relationship could easily be taking advantage. And so it really has to be super well done for me to like jive with it. But so I'm very picky about it, I would say, but I don't mind it if it's well done.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
like if the entire dynamic of the relationship is the power imbalance, it's like I have some ethical issues with that.
for sure.
It's kind of in Twilight too, but I like Twilight better. So maybe I'm just picky about it too. I don't know.
I remember I was listening to a podcast, and the podcaster was talking, so she's like in her 50s, and she's talking about like all these movies and like all these things that she's into, right? I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like I haven't even read like a fraction or like seen a fraction of those movies. And it's just, especially with like huge differences in age, kind of going off like 50 Shades, even just in experience wise, like having that much of an imbalance, like what is the main character, like 19? When you're 19, you only have a specific amount of hours for like recreation, so you can't even physically like time-wise get into things that like a 30-year-old would be able to get to.
Well, that was part of 50 Shades, part of the, and I know this is totally wrong because I did research into it because I was curious like how accurate like the BDSM play was. Who knew we were going to talk about BDSM on this video? I knew I was going to bring the 50 Shades up.
BDSM, are we for or against? No, I'm just kidding.
It's been what, like 5 minutes?
Right. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But like Christian Grey had like Anna sign a contract. He would like outline every single day and what she could and couldn't do. Like that's not healthy. And that's definitely not like actual BDSM play. That's like actual
abuse.
Yeah. So you said like socially they're going to be interested in different things, especially when you sign a contract like that. That's going to affect your ability to be social. And in fact, I think I read the Wikipedia synopses because I was like, I want to see where this goes, but I don't want to have to like suffer through 3 books. And there was an issue of she wanted to see her friends, but Christian wouldn't let her. And so they had to work through that. And when you said movies, I thought of The Graduate. That would be another one, you know, the whole Mrs. Robinson thing. I watched that in a film class. From a film studies perspective, it's a really interesting movie and it's a really cool movie. But then you think about like the actual dynamic of Mrs. Robinson, and I can't remember the kid's name because it's been like 4 or 5 years since I've seen the movie. It's gross.
I know we're doing ones that we don't like, but it's kind of related. So like actually this is on my tropes that I do like, and that's like secret billionaire or like known billionaire, like in romance. And I think it's fine because like in 50 Shades, it's like employer employee. So like it's like directly, but like if it's like I am a billionaire and like not even in your workspace or like whatever, I like it then. I like that imbalance a little bit. But like, yeah, when it's employer, employee, professor, student, it's just like, that's icky.
Yeah. Have you guys read The Love Hypothesis?
Not yet, but I want to.
Okay, because that's one, I really liked it. So yes, okay. I really liked it. It is one where it's a professor and a grad student, but he is not her professor. Like they're at the same university and he is a professor in her department, but he is not like over her as far as professoring goes. And so that makes the dynamic, like they do have that power imbalance, but it's not in a way that is like going to like, if you don't sleep with me, then you won't get a good grade sort of thing, which is just sketchy as hell. Like it's actually really cute. I highly recommend that one.
I'm so excited to read it.
Yeah.
I like a little bit of that, like, imbalance, because I think about like the old like K-dramas where it's just like you have like a hardworking girl who's like on the poorer side, and then you have this billionaire who takes care of all her problems.
Yeah.
Like as a comfort read, not in real life, but like specifically as a book or fiction. I like that a lot. I think it's very cozy.
Yeah. I like the tension in those sorts of relationships too. And
There's a definite forbidden romance element to it.
Yeah, and I like a forbidden romance. That's actually one that's on my list. But it always, like, once again, it depends on how it's done.
I keep telling myself I want to read like 50 Shades or something like that, and then it's just like, you know, like even thinking about it, it's like,
I couldn't get through the vanilla sex.
oh,
I was just like, nope.
yeah.
See, and I like a good spicy read. I don't mind a little bit of smut, but I want there to be a lot of plot too. I don't want it to just be like, I don't read like erotica. Like, I want something that, you know, but I don't mind spice in my romance. It's just that I want there to be more of a plot outside of it. Like something to keep me engaged that isn't just sex.
Yeah. I like a little steam is the best way to put it, but like once it starts to get into the spicy range, then that's when I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna back out.
Yeah, like Fade to Black, and then the next day.
You like PG-13?
Yeah.
A trope that I don't like, and this is more of a romance thing, but like fake dating, I don't like it. There are books that
I love that one.
I love fake dating.
There are some books that I really like it, like the one that was made into a Netflix movie.
Holiday?
To all the boys I loved before.
Oh.
I thought that one was adorable, but in general, I do not like fake dating. I find it, it's just like, just tell each other you like each other. You're already dating, you know?
That's where the fun is. Like, I
have a total bias. I have a total bias.
Oh, yeah.
Fake dating.
Yeah, you do.
That's how me and my husband got together.
Yeah.
I listened to an audiobook. Ivy, I think you've listened to it too, The Christmas Pact, and that was my first introduction to the fake dating trope. And I was like, oh, this is so cute. I can't wait for them to actually get together, because like when you're going into a romance novel and it's like fake dating, you're like, you know they're gonna end up together.
Yeah.
But it's just fun to see how that happens.
Yeah, because a book specifically that I didn't like it was, have you guys ever read Frankly in Love?
Mm-mm. No.
I did not like that one, and I'm mad because I was so excited for it, and it just took my hopes and dropped them.
Well, just so you know, Love Hypothesis is also a fake dating story.
Oh yeah, because she's doing an experiment, like you can't actually feel real love or something like that.
It's because she's trying to convince her friend that she's over this guy that she used to date, because her friend wants to date this guy.
Oh.
So she needs a new boyfriend so that her friend will date this other person.
I won't avoid books that have fake dating, but when it comes up, it's like, but I'll keep an open mind because I do want to read that one.
Yeah.
Kiss Quotient also has fake dating.
Which one?
The Kiss Quotient.
That one's also on my list. I haven't read it yet.
Fake dating. I looked it up around the time I looked up the Spanish Love Deception, so I might be mixing up. Well, Spanish Love Deception's in the title, so there's probably fake dating in that one. But like I looked up the plots, like the summaries at the same time, so I might be like mixing them up.
I read that one too, Kiss Quotient, and like recently, and I was just like, that was another one where I was just like, just tell each other you like each other. Do it now.
It sounds like you don't have the patience for slow burns.
Actually, I love slow burns, but it's just like, you're already in a relationship.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right, so here's one that a lot of people love, but I cannot stand it. Friends to Lovers. I think it's boring.
That's on my love list.
I think it's boring.
See, we're
I have Enemies to Lovers on my love list. I don't
know. Yeah. Okay. Enemies to Lovers is also on my love list. We'll get to that one later, though. Yeah, find friends to lovers incredibly boring. And there have been a couple of books that have done friends to lovers that I have actually enjoyed it. Like Raybearer, which I recently read. It does have a friends to lovers and it's really good. But the majority of books that are friends to lovers, I just find it so boring.
See, we're flipped. Because I love friends to lovers, but
yeah.
And in real life, though, I feel I have a hard time wanting to date people who I'm not friends with first. Because it's like, why would I want to go on a date with a total stranger?
Yeah.
But I can see how that would be boring in fiction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, healthy relationships in fiction are so boring.
They are.
Like a lot
and I feel so bad because, like, of course, that's what we all want in real life. But a healthy relationship in a fiction story is so boring.
Oh yeah, things that I want in romance. Yeah, things I want in romance are like the complete opposite of what I want in like real life. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In real life, I want stability and security, and in fiction, I want like tension and drama.
Yes. Just you guys need to be on two sides of a war in order for me to get behind this.
For real.
This kind of goes with my last one, but like when the consent is shady or if rape is used as a plot device, like either in horror or romance, because like sometimes the rape is in romance is used to be like, oh, I'm fixed because I found somebody new that I'm in love with, or like if it's in horror, it's usually just for shock value, and that's not, I think that's a little disrespectful to people who, you know, have gone through that experience. And I definitely think there's a time and a place for rape to appear in fiction. I'm not saying it should never be in fiction at all.
Yeah.
I just think the way it's typically used is just not great.
That's actually one on my list too. The second one on my list is sexual assault as drama. Like, I loved Downton Abbey, but there is a rape storyline later on that just ruined the show for me. Like, it just completely... I couldn't watch the show anymore after that. It was just so disturbing and so upsetting, and it just didn't bring anything good to the storyline. And lots of drama does that, but it was just so, I don't know, it just felt like it was just done to make things more dramatic and to just shock everyone, you know?
Yeah.
And it was unnecessary. Like,
it was very
think
unnecessary.
They needed to go there. Like, like a lot of people watch Downton Abbey. It's almost like a cozy show. So for something like that to happen, it was just like, I don't understand why the writers felt like that needed to be a thing.
Yeah.
I also hate it in like thrillers when they use it as like character building. Like, that's the character's personality, and it's just like, that's stupid. Because I read it was a Karen Slaughter book, but it was called like The Good Girls or something like that, and it did that with a character. Yay, cat! Yay.
He wants the food that I've already eaten. And he has a cold.
Aww. But yeah, I hate it. It's used as character development. It's just like, that's lazy and stupid.
Yeah, and it also like implies that that sort of event is what makes someone stronger, and that's not true. The choices that they make after they have experienced that event might make them stronger, but it is 100% them that has made it stronger, not the person who did that to them. You know?
They straight up, like, Sansa uses that line in Game of Thrones. She's like, the experiences with Ramsay, who like rapes her often, like, she's like, referring to those experiences, she's like, those experiences have made me stronger in who I am today. And I'm like, girl, no, you were strong before.
And that's the thing, is like overcoming that may have made you feel stronger, but it was everything that you did that made you stronger. It was not the event itself that made you stronger, because anything that happens to you that's bad that you overcome is 100% you overcoming. It's not ever like, oh, I should be grateful to the person who hurt me. No. No.
Yeah, I'm very picky about that as well, like when it's used in any kind of fiction, because like at the end of the day, like it's a writer sitting with themselves, he's saying, I'm going to use this way, and it's just like you don't just throw that around.
No.
Hypothetical or like fictionally.
Yeah, if you're going to deal with any sort of abuse, including sexual assault, then what you really need to do is you need to handle it with respect to survivors of that.
Ivy from the future again. Just wanted to let you guys know that we were filming on Zoom and the timer cut us off, so we started again. And we just started with the next trope. So if it feels like that conversation kind of got cut off short, it kind of did. But I just wanted to let you know that it is a very serious issue to us, and that we really feel for survivors and victims of sexual assault. And we just want to make sure that their stories are protected and told with respect.
So a trope that I don't like is fae that are not fae. Like,
Explain, please.
So, like, fae or fair folk or however you want to call them, I feel like in some series they're just fancy elves. And like, it's just like, just call them elves. Looking at you, A Court of Thorns and Roses. Specific, because it's just like, so kind of spoilers for the series, but like, so the fae in that book, like they start off and they're just like, actually there are a lot of misconceptions about fae, and then it's like, here are all the things we know, like in like generally about fae, and they're like, yeah, iron isn't a thing, we can tell lies, and it's like, then why are you fae? Why don't you just be elves? You know?
To be fair, elves have fae ancestry, at least according to Wizards of the Coast.
It's just like, what makes them fae then? You know?
True.
What's the difference between this fae character and an elf character? Besides large body parts. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
I read those books.
Yeah. And I don't even just like.
Oh, it is a euphemism. Okay.
I don't even hate like the book. I just why?
I only read the first 3 of that series. I think there's 5 now, and I haven't read the 4th or 5th, I don't think. I would have to double check because it's been a while. But I didn't mind that, but I do prefer when fae can't lie or whatever, because I think that adds like some cool dynamics to the story.
Yeah. There's another book, An Enchantment of Ravens, where there are fae, and like I think they adhere more to like fae rules, like what we generally know as like the fair folk and stuff. And I like that one. I thought that one was a lot of fun. I also like it when like the fae are like kind of sinister, because they are.
Yeah.
There's a series that I really like. It's a fantasy series called like the Blackthorn and Grimm series by Juliette Marillier, and that's like one of my favorite series. I haven't read the last book because then that means it's over. But they play the fae as like kind of like, I don't know what they're gonna do. And I don't know, I prefer that because I think they're scary, you know?
Yeah.
I think they should be played kind of scary.
I think this is of course an old book, and everyone watching this will be like, why don't you talk about current books? And this will probably date all of us, but like the Spiderwick Chronicles like do a really good job of keeping with the fae lore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how I first learned about the fae. And actually, even though like it's a fantasy series, but like that's when I first started to become weary of the fae, when like a 10-year-old just reading these books going, oh crap.
Yeah, so that's just a personal one for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes sense. I do think, like, at least with Western folklore, because like if you're like of European descent, like I don't think you should be touching like, you know, POC folklore, that broad umbrella. But like in Western folklore, and you're a white person, you should be allowed to take whatever liberties you want just because it's fun to do that as a writer. But like, yeah, as a reader, I do prefer a little bit more faithfulness in folklore. So I'm kind of, you know, inconsistent about it. But
I'm just like, what makes them fae then? Like if you went and like took out all the parts that said they were fae and just said they were elves, and like there wouldn't be much of a difference, and it's like,
they do have, in A Court of Thorns and Roses series, they do have like special powers that elves wouldn't necessarily have. So I do see that she is making some separation between.
Okay.
But it's true that they do take out a lot of the mythos that surrounds fae. But like in the first book, the fae are shapeshifters. In later books, there's characters that have other abilities and stuff like that, and some of them have wings and things like that. So yeah, I don't know. I think I agree that like I'm fine with people taking creative liberties, but I do prefer when it's faithful to the original folklore.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I just personally am like,
yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's what is the point of that? Like, just call them something else. Yeah.
But like, yeah, there's not anything like morally wrong with it.
No.
Or anything like that. No.
I just think of Twilight and the vampire sparkling, and I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Twilight, I don't care. It doesn't affect me. But like, that's a little bit different because like you can still call them vampires and not feel bad about it. But like, if you are taking away how the fae like doesn't not do well with iron, or like how they can't tell a lie, then you're right, they're not fae anymore.
Yeah, it would be like taking the drinking of blood away from vampires and being like, they're still a vampire. It's like, no, they're not.
Wait a second.
If they don't drink blood, they're not vampires.
Like maybe a zombie or like some other immortal.
It could be some other type of undead maybe, but not vampires.
Yeah.
Should I do one now? One of the ones I can't stand?
Yeah.
Okay. Mal, I did recently read a book that had this trope in it, and I was fine with the book. But Bury Your Gaze.
Yeah.
It's a trope that I just like. Why do we need to like disproportionately kill gay people over straight people? Like,
people of color a lot too.
Yeah.
Just like,
why
hey,
is it?
Who's this oppressed group? Let's kill him.
Yeah, why is it that the side character who happens to be gay or the side character that happens to be black is the one that dies first? Like, why?
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
And first of all, why were they a side character? But second of all, why'd you have to kill them off after that too? Like, it's just frustrating.
Give them a break. I really hope my paraphrasing of, hey, there's a suppressed group, let's kill them, does not get taken out of context ever.
Just makes a gif.
I happen to become a famous author, and then like someone pulls that clip out of the
Well, you'll have two witnesses. You'll have two witnesses to be like, that is not what she meant.
We have the receipts. Yeah, like we already have so much of that in media already that we don't need to see it again.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was terribly said.
No, it wasn't. It was fine.
Yeah, it was great. It's almost like it's not quite the same because I don't want to minimize either or like over inflate either, but like it's like using rape or sexual assault as a plot point, right? Like it's just usually to be edgy or gratuitous, and so like we don't need that.
Yeah, or to further the storyline of another character. It's like, why are you gonna hurt one character just to further the storyline of another character? Like, stop making your characters plot devices. Like, make them actual characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's pretty much all I have to say about that one.
Shall I go?
Yeah.
Like a lot of these are related. Okay. I don't really know if this counts as a trope, but like photographs on book covers, like photographs of people on book covers, especially in romance, because it's usually a guy that is supposed to be attractive that I
and
don't.
it cuts off his head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
It's
so
just his rippling muscles.
yeah, and I'm like, I'm not attracted to that. So that's a big turn off for me. Or even if like the face is shown, I'm still like, I know you're supposed to be conventionally attractive.
Yeah.
But I'm not attracted to
Yeah. Because it's just like, it's so much more fun to like envision like a character, because usually if you're being told like this is a handsome character, then you see like in your head like what you consider handsome, you know, or attractive. But like if they tell you like this is what they look like on the cover, it's just like, is it though?
Even something like this I can get behind for.
Yeah, I love the illustrated covers, because you can still like get like a gist for what they're going for, but like still envision your own character.
Yeah. I agree.
I have a story actually about the illustrated covers, especially for like romance, because a lot of times they make them look very sweet. I had a book club read Witch Please by Anne Aguirre, and judging off the cover, I was like, oh, this is a sweet romance. Like, this will be fine. You know, like, they'll like this. Was reading it. It gets very spicy. And if you've ever had to explain to a room of elderly women what pegging was, like, it was... I was... Yeah. It was not fun. It was not fun. Sometimes those covers can be misleading.
I wish I would have been in that room. I want to know what those elderly women thought of your explanation of pegging.
They were very cool about it. They were just like, we're not prudes. Like, we read the book. And I was like, thank goodness. But it could have gone very badly for me.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Also, it just like, it looks kind of like low quality if it has like a picture of a person. It's just like, you didn't pay an artist for this.
Yeah.
You get this off
stock images.
Stock images. Have you heard of, I actually really want to read this one because it looks terrible. It's a romance novel called like, it's like falling in love with coronavirus or something, and like coronavirus is personified by this.
I have heard of
that. I have not. What?
So, yeah.
Oh, my Amazon recommended, and I'm sure Amazon was just like, just please buy this. Anybody, please buy this. Oh.
So they have the guy that's supposed to be coronavirus. He's green, and he has his arm wrapped around a woman, but the hand is not green, so they didn't go in and like make the hand. I think it adds to that one actually, but in general.
Yeah, it kind of has a B movie feel to it.
Yeah.
Low budget production.
It's a series. I think there's like, I think there's at least 3 books in it.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and it's more power to that author if they're making money off of it.
Right?
And then Kissing the coronavirus.
Kissing the coronavirus.
If you look at his hand.
Oh yeah, his hand isn't green.
I forgot how awful that cover is. I will never ever read that.
I love the tagline too. She was supposed to cure the coronavirus. Instead, she fell in love with it.
Steamy viral erotica is what it's described.
Steamy viral.
And it's like viral hyphen erotica, so they like really want to emphasize that the two are together.
That's so funny.
A lot. It's consistently gotten like 1-star reviews.
Oh no.
The negative publicity is better than no publicity, I guess.
I guess.
Hate reading is a marketing tool, kind of. I feel like that's a lot of 50 Shades' thing, you know? Because like a lot of people like legit sorry to keep bringing up 50 Shades. I feel like that's what's gotten it kind of popular, that like people read it because they're just like, ooh, and then also it's just like, I read this because I hated it.
Well, E.L. James is laughing all the way to the bank, so
yeah, I know, right?
All right, Lex, your turn.
So another trope that I don't like is a femme fatale that is not a femme fatale. I read a book recently called The Six Wakes, and one of the characters, like, they tell us that she's an assassin, and like this is a book about cloning, so she's had like multiple lives where she was in the army, she's a general, like she knows how to fight, you know, she knows how to hold her own. And the book is kind of a murder mystery on a spaceship. Basically, like another character gets the jump on her in like a really bad way, and it's just like, I thought she was super good at fighting. You know, like you're telling me this regular guy just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna tell me so much about her fighting prowess, I want to see her fight.
But it sounds like maybe that man is just like hella sub or something like that.
That would have been an interesting way for the book to go.
Probably the way it should have gone, having never read it at all.
Yeah, no, it would have been much more interesting for her to just beat the crap out of everybody and have them all like it.
They're just like, yes.
You're not supposed to like it.
I'm so confused.
Okay, so I have one that I don't like, but it's kind of hard to explain. So I wrote down cool losers.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is like when a character is really, really cool, but everyone treats them like a loser.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker. He's hot, he skateboards, he's cool! He's
beautiful.
cool!
I know.
Yeah,
And
but
everyone's like, he's such a nerd! And I'm like, have you seen him?
I feel like sometimes it's like boomers writing youth.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, when I was in school, like only the jocks were the cool people, but like now it's just like, that's not even, that's almost not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Jocks now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Another example of that I thought of was the best friends that she has in Mean Girls, the lesbian and the gay guy.
Oh yeah.
They are so cool.
Them. Yeah.
They are so cool, and everyone treats them like total losers, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah, Janice would have been like the cool, like, you know, like she would have been the cool.
I would have wanted to be friends with her, but from a distance.
I have gone down like a My Chemical Romance like rabbit hole this weekend, and like the what's it called, the music video for I'm Not Okay, like you have the whole band in like their uniforms and they're like, we're not cool, and it's just like, are you kidding me? Like I would have had like the biggest crush. I currently have the biggest crush on all of you. Like whatever.
All of you simultaneously. I just love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, it's like Steve Rogers, like he's not like a loser, except he kind of sort of is in the very beginning of the, like, Captain America: The First Avenger, but like everybody loves him. Mm-hmm. And at his core, he's the same guy throughout all of the movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the only reason they treated him like a loser was because he was small.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he was no longer small and had those sick Dorito proportions and became America's ass.
Oh my god.
In a good way.
In a good way. Everyone was like, ooh, Captain America. Yeah. Like, come on. He was great before too.
He actively wanted to serve his country and found a way to do it, even though the military was like, no. Like, I don't even want to try once, and he tried many times.
Yeah.
Kind of like
cool.
But Ben Wyatt's kind of like that in Parks and Rec.
I feel like he was like, he used to be a cool guy though, and then like messed up royally, right?
But he was still like cool, but he was also insecure about it. And so because he messed up royally, and so that's why he'd be a cool loser.
But yeah, that's like definitely a thing. Like,
Yeah. I feel like Dwight from The Office is the opposite, where he's supposed to be cool, but he's like a total loser, and I hate him. Like, the entire reason he's funny is because he's a horrible person, and I'm just like, that's not
I have to admit, I really like Dwight. I think he's funny. But I mean, I have the same sort of thing with like Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother. He's a total horrible human being, like just a horrible person, but he's so funny.
Yeah.
And I think that because it's fiction, it is like you can laugh at it, but if they were real, then you would be like, no, this person's just a nightmare, you know?
Yeah. How I Met Your Mother frustrates me as a show because they're all terrible people. But the writing is so good, the comedy is so well timed, even though it hasn't aged well at all, that I'm like, that's still funny. Yeah. Even the jokes that are like, they couldn't get away with writing that anymore, I'm like, that's
yeah.
So I'm like, you can't be this well written of a show with that horrible of characters. Obviously you can, but
yeah,
it's just frustrating. My turn?
Yep.
All right, so I wrote literal strong women. And what I mean by that, because I don't mind if a woman's physically strong. That's really cool, actually. But like when the author's like, I have a strong female lead, and the only way she's strong is physically strong. So like the Buffy characters. And it mostly comes back to my beef with Buffy.
I loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but it is so problematic.
It's so problematic. And like academia is still holding it to this high esteem of this is the peak of feminism. And I'm like, yeah, maybe in the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah. But even there, like, there was like, wasn't Veronica Mars also in the 90s?
It was a little after. It was early 2000s.
Oh, because I was like, Veronica Mars was even a better example than Buffy was.
And she's not the greatest example either.
No.
But you're right, she's a better example than Buffy.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love that show. I absolutely adore it. It's one of my favorites, and I'll probably return to it all the time, but I can't. Xander.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say that.
He makes me so mad.
Yeah. He's the worst. Like the whole worst. Like, I'm a nice guy. It's I mean, like everyone knows that that's like stupid now, but like at the time it was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
He's so sensitive.
And the Giles Buffy dynamic is a little iffy now. A little bit.
Yeah, it can be. Giles is definitely a flawed mentor. And but I appreciated that in him because I don't like the like perfect mentor figures because they don't exist. And so I don't like when a like mentor figure is portrayed in this like all-knowing, almighty way. Because like Dumbledore or Gandalf, they're like kind of portrayed as like perfect, and then you come to find out they're really not. They're both flawed too. And I don't Dumbledore is the worst. Oh, I can't stand Dumbledore.
Oh, I can't either. I'm like, you just groomed a kid and would openly admit to it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, he just misleads everyone, and just basically his entire thing is getting everyone to believe that he's leading them correctly, but he's misleading them into their deaths. Like he's like, fight for me, be my army, but I'm not gonna say that. But you know, it just he makes me so mad.
So the trope that you don't like is that it's a physically strong woman, but like not strong.
But she has nothing else. She has no other strengths, basically. So like a strong female lead would be like, you know, resilient. Well, she can hold her own in any situation. I don't know how to explain it, but like I think of Hermione as like a strong female character, except J.K. Rowling is really bad at writing women characters too. I'm trying to think of a better example. Like if she's physically strong, that's fine. But it's like when the author is relying on physical strength as opposed to like emotional strength or like intelligence and wisdom, like, you know, the other scores that you have to worry about in D&D. That's when I have a problem with it, because Buffy was physically strong, but like she didn't have a lot of resiliency, and I know part of that is just being a teenager.
I feel like
But she relied a lot on the men around her. She did rely a lot on Giles, and she relied on Angel for a time, and Spike, less so Xander, thankfully, but I don't know if I'm making a good case for it.
No, yeah.
You are.
It's like misogyny dressed up as feminism.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Which
oh,
is
well, they...
kind of just Joss Whedon's brand, isn't it?
Exactly.
all of the like Gen X professors are going, no, but Joss Whedon.
No. Oh, we're gonna get so much hate for this if anyone ever watches it.
I know. Like,
I dare
love
you.
Joss Whedon film. It's like, no, don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you do, it's fine. You do you, but at the same time, just be aware of the problems with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like almost all of his characters that I guess are supposed to be he thinks is the female like power fantasy is just the male power fantasy again. Because I think about like Gina Torres' character in Firefly, like she can kick anyone's ass, but like I don't know, relies so heavily like on like Mal and stuff, and it's like you're telling me she's not the captain. You know, like she's way more emotionally fit for that role than
And that's
Mal
I think
is.
that's more Gina Torres' acting, because she's a female actress.
Random question, but have you guys seen Encanto?
Yes.
What I like that because they like took that trope and kind of like spun it on its head a little bit with Luisa, because like she's physically strong, but that's all that matters.
People think that's all that matters, but then she's like, no, there's more to me. And then Surface Pressure is my favorite song from
Yes.
It was definitely the song I related to the most.
Yeah.
Probably because I'm an oldest child, so it was just like, you know.
Yeah.
Are we all oldest children?
I think so.
I think
Oh
so.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it my turn?
Yes.
So another trope that I don't like is the oblivious male character, especially in romance. Whoever like he's in love with is like putting very obvious signs like, hey, I like you, and then he's just like, what? I had no idea. The only example I feel like there's more, but the only example I could come up with was like Deku from My Hero Academia. A character that is into him is like always like, hey, like I love being around you, and he's like, she's
Is it
so cool.
Uraraka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just
I've been
like,
shipping them forever.
yeah, they're sweet, but it's just like she clearly likes you. You know.
Deku's just oblivious to everything, but keep going.
Yeah. I guess like I can't think of like another book that does it, but I feel like there are more, especially in YA.
Yeah, I think it's also like kind of to tag along with that topic, you can also do like the oblivious dad figure, which is so common, and it bothers me, maybe because I have a really good relationship with my dad, and my dad was never an oblivious person. Like he was very aware of what was going on, very smart. But like, you know, it's like the Disney Channel dads are always idiots, and I'm like, why?
I was just thinking about that. I have a very vivid memory of watching, it was either Good Luck Charlie or Wizards of Waverly Place, and my dad walks in, and the dad on TV does something, and it's, you know, the dad being an idiot, and my dad's just like, why are dads always like that on TV? And then he just kind of walked out of the room, and I was like, I don't know, I'm just watching a show.
I hadn't noticed that.
Disney and Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, since their target audience is our kids, really like to be like, look at the parents, aren't they so stupid?
But it is targeted more toward the dad usually. Like it is like mom is a sympathetic character, and even though she makes mistakes, she's like the sympathetic nice character, whereas the dad is an idiot, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I feel like it's because the moms are usually the ones that have to carry like the emotional load. Not in all circumstances, but like I guess stereotypically.
It's the societal expectation.
Yeah. So it's just like dad gets to not have a care in the world, but mom has to get shit done.
Yeah. And that bothers me. I don't.
Yeah.
It enforces these stereotypes that are really harmful to parents, and it's like something that is targeted at children. And like, not all parents are great. I'm not going to say they are, but like plenty of parents are doing their best.
Mhm.
And to just like villainize them because they make mistakes is kind of dumb, because the only parents that should be villainized are like abusive parents or neglectful parents, not parents who are trying, you know?
But also, like, for kids that have like oblivious parents, it's like, I don't want to see this in my fun cartoon. You're like, I
Yeah.
live this.
Yeah.
I want a happy
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that all family representation for kids has to be happy families that are like
Yeah.
with equally capable parents. That's not what I'm saying at all. But like
No.
just this stereotype of like mom is capable and dad's an idiot is harmful. Like,
And overdone.
yeah.
And I'm sure there are definitely family dynamics out there like that. And so like all kids need to see themselves and their families in the media. So it's like that can still be around, but that shouldn't really be the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
the
it's the
go-to.
prevalence of it that is the problem, because like it's the same in The Simpsons, but like
Yeah.
The Simpsons kind of originated it, so I don't have a problem with it
Yeah.
in The Simpsons.
Mhm.
Also, The Simpsons is geared as adults, not children.
Yeah. And I
So-
think they do address it. I don't watch The Simpsons a whole lot, but like since it's such a huge like pop culture giant, like it's hard not to know things about it. And I'm pretty sure they do address it in a couple of episodes where Marge is just fed up with Homer's shit. Like
Yeah.
But yeah, like even trying to think of a show in general where that isn't the case, where it's like mom does stuff, dad is dumb. It's like I can't think of, because like we were even talking about Encanto, and even like I don't know, the dad is well-meaning. They don't really play him as stupid. He's just like accident prone. But Julieta is always
but
like
he's also so supportive.
Yeah.
yeah. So like that's a little bit.
Yeah.
Encanto does have like the oblivious love interest though with the cousin.
Yeah.
And I can't remember names, but like she can hear everything.
Isabel Dolores.
Yeah.
Dolores.
Dolores.
She's in love with someone who's in love with, I think it is Isabella,
Isabella.
the pretty one. And then like Isabella's like, I don't want this guy. But then they're like, hey, Dolores is cute. Here's Dolores. And at the end he's like, oh, hi Dolores. And so,
And he immediately suggests they get married too. He's such an idiot.
he's such a Disney guy.
I know. And I'm a big Disney fan. I know they are not without flaws for sure, but I am a big Disney fan. So I see these problems that are very prevalent in Disney. And I just think like with all their money and all their resources, and they have some of the best possible writers and animators and stuff, you'd think they could come up with some better storylines than dad is an idiot every time. You know?
Well,
Yeah, but they're looking for quantity more than quality. So they're going to fall back on what they know has worked in the past.
Yeah.
I think like whenever
Especially
they
with their
have-
TV shows too.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, you're fine. I feel like the only time there is a capable like dad parent, like he's dead. You know?
Mufasa.
Right? Yeah.
Well, I feel like so I haven't seen the new live action Mulan, but like I feel like her dad is pretty cool, but he also doesn't get a lot of screen time.
He doesn't. But he is he's not an idiot by any means. And he's very much displayed as the hero. He's going to go fight. And even though he will definitely die from it because he's already been injured from battle before. Yeah, he's definitely played really well. I love Mulan. That is such a good movie. And the live action's not bad either. I missed the music and I missed Mushu, but like it was still actually pretty dang good.
Shang is not oblivious, Meal.
No.
He is very aware of the vibes.
Yeah. Poor
when-
Shang is having a gay identity crisis
I know.
for most of the movie.
Even
He's
when
like,
Mulan,
"Oh, am I gay?"
I was gonna say, even when Mulan is peeing, you can tell he's like,
Yeah.
"Hmm."
Yeah.
Like I
That poor man. He went through an emotional roller coaster, falling in love with King and then realizing it was Mulan.
You know what? Maybe he's bi.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's see that bi representation in,
Yeah.
in Disney's Mulan.
Yeah. Disney just shuts down our video. We're like, nope. No more.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay, so another one that I hate is the not like other girls trope, which we've talked about before.
The curse so darkened.
Yeah, I recently read that one. I did recently read it, and it was fine, but it was frustrating that was like the most prevalent trope for like the whole beginning half of the book, was that she's not like other girls, and she's not like other girls because she's feisty, or she's not like other girls because she has like a disability, or it was very unclear what it was that made her different from other girls, but it was very clear that she was not like other girls. And I was like,
yeah. Well, at least it wasn't she's not like other girls, she reads.
yeah.
Like back in the day, and I keep going back to like, Twilight is one of my go-tos, but like Bella wasn't like other girls because she reads. But that was like 10 or 12 years prior to stuff like A Curse So Dark and Lonely.
Yeah. Well, and I have a couple on my list that are actually kind of like connected to that one, if it's okay if I go over those ones right now too while we're discussing it. But
sure.
Okay. Sorry, say what you were gonna say first, Lex.
Oh, I think I was just gonna say, like, we see that in A Curse So Dark and Lonely because I think things like Twilight were the predecessor of like that like trope.
Yeah. But A Curse So Dark and Lonely came out in what, 2019 or 2018 or something? It should have she should have known better by that point, I think.
Yeah.
Well, she was looking for that quick buck, which released January 2019.
Yeah, and that's the first book. There's been 3 of them.
Yeah.
And there's, I think, going to be a 4th, maybe? I don't know. I'm not sure on that, but...
A Heart So Fierce and Broken and A Vow So Bold and Deadly. Those... Bless you, Flash. Saying, like, all 3 of those titles so, like, consecutively in a row is kind of a mouthful.
Yeah.
Which I don't like that in a title when it's a mouthful, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah. So the ones that go with the not like other girls are Attractive but Doesn't Know It.
Yeah.
And Bella from Twilight is a great example of that. She is, every guy in Forks is attracted to her.
Like, I don't know why.
Every single one. And she's like, I don't get it. Why are they attracted to me? And I'm like, because you're pretty. Like,
and there's like a bit of newness to them, because like they grew up with Jessica and Angela, and they're both pretty too. But like Bella's new, and that's kind of objectifying. But that's how teenage boys work.
It's not just teenage boys either, because I remember when there was a new kid at my school in high school, everyone was totally like, oh
yeah.
gosh. And I'm not going to say his name because he might watch this.
I'll amend my statement and just be like, that's how humans work.
Yeah. And then the other one that goes along with that is the Manic Pixie Dream Girl.
Yeah.
So quirky. I'm like, but she's not. She just plays the ukulele and happens to be really pretty. She's just Zooey Deschanel. She's not.
Yeah.
She's just always Zooey Deschanel for whatever reason.
Yeah. And Zooey Deschanel is quirky, but when you have a bunch of people like that in a row, it no longer becomes quirky. That's the norm.
Yeah, when that is the stereotype of what it is that a man wants, is this Manic Pixie Dream Girl, this quirky girl who's just like a little bit different, but still like cool in every way. Her quirkiness is not nerdy, it's attractive. I'm just, it's frustrating to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I was thought of as weird growing up. Like, I wasn't thought of as cute and quirky. I was thought of as weird because I was different. And I'm like, that's not, it's just not realistic to me.
Yeah. I was definitely called quirky, and it's not because people thought I was cute. Like,
yeah. Aww. They didn't mean it in a good way.
Yeah.
Like,
it wasn't a compliment.
No.
And I love John Green. I love him so much, especially since everyone decided it was cool to hate John Green, and I'm just like, that's so dumb. But anyway, like a lot of, when he writes a romance, the love interest is usually a Manic Pixie Dream Girl, like Margot Roth Spiegelman and Alaska Young from Paper Towns and Looking for Alaska. They're Manic Pixie Dream Girls.
I think
The Fault in Our Stars.
Intentionally, though.
Yeah, he
like, especially with, and I haven't read Paper Towns, but I got the impression that the whole point of Paper Towns was that he was trying to make a commentary on the Manic Pixie Dream Girl.
Oh, for sure.
But
yeah, sorry, I didn't think my thought through before saying it, because you're right. And it was the same with Looking for Alaska. Like, he was very much pointing out the problems with these two main character teenage guys hyperfixating on their love for these Manic Pixie Dream Girls.
Yeah.
So I apologize. And
no, you don't have to apologize. That's totally fine.
Fault in Our Stars, he didn't do that.
Yeah, no.
But it was kind of like, Augustus was the manic pixie dream boy.
Yeah, for sure.
It's still like an undercut of it. I can't think of like actual proper words tonight. But like, like making it a guy is still turning the trope on its head, is what I'm trying to say. So
yeah, I think with the former two as well, like I think that Not Like Other Girls and Pretty But She Doesn't Know It, I think it feeds into like, especially younger readers, like insecurities, because like every young girl feels like she's not pretty, and even when she is, it's just like, am I though? Especially because of what like society believes an attractive woman is supposed to look like. Like I feel like it feeds into those insecurities, because it's just like every little girl wants to be told like, you're special, you're not like other people. I hope we see like maybe going forward, like in books, I'd like to see more like sisterhood, or like having tight or like good support systems, but like I don't know, there's nothing wrong with being like other girls.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that bugs me about it, is that it's this idea that like by being feminine in some way that there's something wrong. I liked the Hunger Games, but Katniss is a strong female character that does everything in her power to be masculine. And it was very frustrating to me, because I was like, there's nothing wrong with being feminine. There's nothing wrong with having feminine characteristics. That is not what makes someone weak. And this association with strength must be masculine is so anti-feminist, because you can be masculine, you can be feminine, it doesn't matter. If you identify as a woman, then you have some sort of strength in you that comes with your femininity and your masculinity and whoever you are as a person, instead of just your gender.
Yeah. Womanhood isn't rooted in femininity or the lack of masculinity.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking that kind of applies to Buffy too, but then she is pretty feminine at times, because like, she's a cheerleader, and that's stereotypically feminine, especially for the 90s. And so like we do see some femininity there, which I guess is a point towards Joss Whedon's column, I guess.
I also wanted to bring up Buffy because I feel like it is kind of anti-feminine where like Cordelia is involved. Because when I was watching it recently, it's just like Cordelia a lot of the times is not wrong. Like she just has good self-esteem a lot of the time. And she's like, I'm not gonna take shit. Yeah, exactly. And they're just like, she's such a girly girl. Like she's so much. And it's just like, a lot of times she's like actually right.
Well, and that's the thing, is like, what is wrong with being a girly girl? Why are we villainizing being a girly girl? Like, what if I want to wear pretty dresses and makeup? That doesn't make me a lesser person. That doesn't make me less capable of being the hero of a story either.
Yeah.
It just means I like pretty dresses and makeup. Like it has nothing to do with my strength as a person.
Another thing I wanted to bring up was Princess Diaries.
Yes.
Have you guys ever read the books?
No.
So it's similar to Buffy in that way, where the girl that's kind of the bully in the movie later within the character.
Mandy Moore's character.
Yeah, Mandy Moore's character. The further you get in the series, you find out that she's kind of a bitch, but like she's a little misunderstood. She's just a little more blunt than she means to be, and like they actually have a very good friendship, and I really like that. The farther it gets into the series, because the author wasn't trying to be like cheerleader bad, feminine bad, because that's kind of what Mia seems to be. She doesn't ever say I'm not like other girls, but they kind of are veering that way. But like I like that series eventually gets to the point where it's like both are good. Like it's okay to not want to be super feminine, but it's also okay if you do want to be like ultra feminine.
Exactly.
And like at least in the movies, Mia learns to embrace that side of her, which is really cool. Sorry. And then like a lot of people confuse bluntness with intentional rudeness, and sometimes being blunt is being rude, but it's not necessarily all the time. Those are my two thoughts.
I have another one that kind of goes along with it, but we can talk about it later.
Okay. This is like going to be a huge 180. But when animals die, I don't like that. Especially it's more in movies that I have a problem, because you can see it, and it's usually, I know Ivy, you and I had a professor in college.
Mm-hmm.
He one time said that a movie isn't truly scary unless an animal dies in it, because that invokes a more emotional reaction than humans dying. But I think that's flawed logic. I guess I am calling out the PhD. But like, because it's usually used for the sake of the shock value and for the sake of the being edgy. And I get that, especially horror as a genre likes that shock value and to be edgy, but like there's a way to do it and have it be good, I guess, and like not rely on lazy things like killing the animal. It just feels lazy. On top of that, it's a trigger for me right now, and I don't know why, because it used to not really bother me.
Is it?
It might be because I have Flash now, and he's very old, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to have him. So it could be that. But I taught Life of Pi last year, and even like the description of the zebra breaking his leg, and then like the hyena eating the zebra and eating the orangutan, and Richard Parker, the tiger, eating the hyena, like that was kind of upsetting to me. And like all of my students were like, let's watch the movie, and I was like, no, we're not going to do that, because I knew it would be too upsetting for me, and I needed to be.
That's understandable. It isn't one that bothers me, and not because I don't love animals, because I do,
right?
But because it really depends on how it's done, kind of like some of the other ones that we've talked about. And like, if the villain of the story kills an animal, then it just reiterates that they're a villain. You know what I mean? I can understand the need for it in certain circumstances, especially in a book like Life of Pi, where
it's absolutely
necessary to the story that the animals die. But that doesn't mean that it is pleasant for me to witness or read about or anything like that. Right. Like, it is definitely still upsetting, and I cry when it happens, but I recognize value in that, because of, I think one of the goals of any form of art is to get you to feel something. And so it's getting me to feel something, and it might be a cheap trick for getting me to feel something, but it works.
Yeah.
So
more power to John Wick for going on a murder rampage because his dog. Total respect, but I can't watch that movie. But I think you make a good point.
I agree with that too. I know that is like a big trigger for a lot of people. Have you guys ever heard of doesthedogdie.com?
Yeah, I use that all the time.
Yeah, me too.
I use it too, because my husband is very sensitive to that sort of stuff. Like, he loves dogs like no one I have ever met loves dogs. So
I know. Like, when I was posting about my family dog passing away, I was like, tell him not to. I'm blocking him from Facebook for a little bit.
I really appreciate that you did that.
I, for the library that I worked at, made a list of books where the dog did not die, and like I got so much feedback from people that were like, thank you, I needed this list, because I don't want to, no one wants to see that.
Jumping back to Does the Dog Die website, it's good because it lists everything that could potentially be triggering for someone, which I really appreciate. So like, if I'm worried about like a rape scene or something like that, I can still go and check, and is there a rape scene? No. Okay. Yes. Okay. Not gonna watch that probably. Or something.
For every book I read, I go in and put everything, like, does this appear, like, whatever, because I know like that, like sometimes I'd like to know like to what extent something happens. Because like there's like, does it happen at all? And then like it depends on what it is, but like
or like
how graphic is it and stuff like that.
Where they'll be like, this is kind of related to the thing, and it still might be upsetting, but it's not like technically the thing, which I also appreciate.
I don't like reincarnated love. So like, there are two characters, they loved each other, and then they die, and then they get reincarnated, and then they still love each other. They like fall in love in some way, especially if it's like insta love, and then it's like, oh well, we actually love each other because in a past life we loved each other. Does that make sense?
That feels kind of forced.
There's a book that I read called The Gargoyle that did this, and like I didn't like it. And then another book, it's a Laini Taylor book. It's like Daughter of Smoke and Bone, I think. Also does that. It felt like insta love, but then tried to go back and be like, no, actually they super love each other, and I was like, I don't believe you.
That one can be kind of common in like gothic stuff, and it's not one of my favorites just because I think it's been overdone, and I don't like insta love. And it's too close to insta love.
Yeah, well, it feels like it's insta love trying to like justify itself.
Yeah,
it's like, if you want to be insta love, just be insta love. Like,
yeah, it's just an excuse for insta love, which to me is just an excuse for bad writing.
Yeah. Maybe I just haven't seen it done.
Take the time to develop this relationship, so we're just gonna
Another series that it was popular around like the era of Twilight and everything, but it's the Immortal series by Alison Noel. Do you guys recognize that at all? Evermore.
Oh, that does sound familiar.
I think I wouldn't mind it if it wasn't insta love. Like if they still took the time to do like some slow burn sexy romance where they might be instantly attracted to each other or feel a connection, but like beyond that, I want them to fall in love the normal way. I don't want them to just like look into each other's eyes and be like, you're the one. Like that's
or I want them to have their memories.
Yeah.
Like the Mummy. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Or what about Bram Stoker's Dracula? Not the book, the movie. The with Gary Oldman.
Movie?
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
It was just like, just have him be dead.
Yeah. So that is one of the most faithful adaptations of Dracula, which is really disappointing because it's not very faithful at all. But it is one of the most faithful adaptations of Dracula, which is really sad because Dracula is such a good book and they just have not done it justice.
Not even
in any movie adaptation that I've seen.
Not even the Neo from the Matrix.
Keanu Reeves
one?
I don't know if I've seen that one. Which one is that one?
Isn't Keanu Reeves in Bram Stoker's Dracula?
Yes, yeah, he plays Jonathan Harker.
You know what? I was thinking
Interview with a Vampire.
No,
because he's in that one too, isn't he?
Is he? Oh my god!
I don't remember.
I know Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise are in that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was thinking of a different one.
Okay.
The one where Dracula Untold.
Oh, that one is, what's his name? Damn it, what is his name?
It's the guy from The Hobbit, right?
Yeah, he played Bard in The Hobbit, and he also played Gaston in the new Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, I don't know his name, but I know who you're talking about now.
I feel so bad that I cannot remember his name. Luke Evans.
Luke Evans. Oh, yeah, he's in The Hobbit.
He looked more like Orlando Bloom in The Hobbit than Orlando Bloom.
Oh, yeah. I always call him like not Orlando Bloom.
Yeah.
If you just said that, I would have known.
Oh. The one that looked like Orlando Bloom but isn't Orlando Bloom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Flash.
Got Flash by Flash.
Also, white people like to really up reincarnation.
Yeah.
As
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, those are all white authors.
Whose turn is it?
Yours.
Oh, it's mine? Okay. Damsels in distress. They bug me. That's really all that needs to be said about that one. They're annoying.
I like Megara, who's like, I'm a damsel. I'm in distress, but I got this. I'm not. Yeah. I'm paraphrasing, but you know.
Yeah. But like an actual damsel in distress, like what's her name from the second Indiana Jones movie that just screams for him to come and save her the whole time, and I'm like, you have nothing on Marion. Marion? Is that the girl from the first Indiana Jones movie? I don't remember.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But yeah. Not a fan of a damsel in distress.
Most crazy blonde Disney heroines. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't think I've seen that a lot recently. That I can think of, which is nice. Because it's definitely played out.
Yeah, I don't know that anything else needs to be said about that one. I mean, it's an old one.
Yeah.
It's an old one, and it's an annoying one.
Yeah. I do like how in Into the Woods, both the stage musical and the movie, like, they make fun of that. Outside of like stuff like the Shakespeare play, I don't want to read it. Shakespeare doesn't even really do the damsel in distress. He has a lot of strong woman characters, surprisingly.
We can have a discussion about Shakespeare in another video, maybe, because we all know I hate him.
Oh,
I love him.
Yeah.
I do think he's overrated, though.
He is overrated.
Yeah.
That is my biggest complaint about him, though.
We put too much stake in his plays than like their actual quality. When, you know, we have Christopher Marlowe from the same time period doing some pretty cool stuff. But I do think Shakespeare's really like if you can understand what he's saying, like he has a lot of good jokes.
I agree. I think my biggest problem with him, I guess we are going to go into this. One of my biggest problems with him is that everything that has been labeled as a comedy of his, I find tragic. And everything that has been labeled as a tragedy of his, I find comedic.
Well, so like the classic definitions of tragedy and comedy, and this is kind of like a cliche saying now, but a tragedy ends with a funeral and a comedy ends in a marriage. So like they're loose definitions of what we would consider tragedy and comedy. And you're right, but like a lot of his tragedies have some very funny lines. Like the nurse from Romeo and Juliet is hilarious. She's a crack up. There is a lot of tragic elements to some of his comedies, like in A Midsummer Night's Dream. That's a whole just stress fest until the very end when everyone ends up with who they're supposed to be with. Yeah. So I can get where you're coming from.
Yeah. I think the best example that I have of that is Merchant of Venice. Merchant of Venice is a comedy. And when I saw that one in Globe Theater, and it was absolutely brilliantly done. And I have enjoyed his shows when I have gone to see them. So I'm not going to say like he wasn't good at writing plays. They were good. But I have a lot of problems with his characters and some of his plot lines. But in Merchant of Venice, I think it's Shylock.
I haven't read or seen that one, so I'm not a good...
Yeah, I'm going to look it up just to make sure. I think it's Shylock. Yeah, his name is Shylock. He's a Jewish man, and at the end, he's forced to convert to Christianity, and the play ends with his baptism, and it is played for laughs, but it is absolutely distressing to watch that. It is absolutely so upsetting, and I cried while I was watching it. It was played for laughs, and that was really frustrating for me, but I mean, it's a thing of its time, but I don't like the glorification of Shakespeare's works in this way that is like, oh, he's so timeless. I'm like, he's not. He is a product of his time. His works are products of his time.
Yeah.
So this like idea that he's like this timeless, eternal being, I'm like, it's bullshit.
You're right. He was an anti-Semite, and a lot of our great writers were anti-Semitic, which is a huge problem.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of discourse about whether he was gay or bi, but there's still a lot of homophobia in his plays. And then like he does have a lot of strong female leads, but there's still a lot of sexism in his plays too. And I mean strong female leads with an asterisk, strong female leads for the time period, like and that's not really a justifier because it was bad then too.
Yeah.
Just people didn't think it was, I guess.
Yeah. Another example of that is Taming of the Shrew. At the end, Kat has lost all personality and everything that made her strong before, and it's played for laughs. And I'm like, it's tragic. Like, it's so depressing that she was tamed. Like, ugh.
Even if it is for Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
Even then.
Yeah. Is that 10 Things I Hate About You?
Yeah.
Okay. I do think She's the Man is a fun movie.
Yeah, sorry to go off on my Shakespeare tangent.
Oh, no. I started it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just having to convince a lot of teenagers that Shakespeare, like it's okay to not like Shakespeare, but also there are plenty of reasons to like Shakespeare.
Yeah.
So
I think the thing is I can dislike Shakespeare's works while also appreciating what he did for literature, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he did a lot for literature, and that's why he's such a big deal. I think that there are better writers that we could focus on more.
So a trope that I don't like is a book that starts out as a mystery and then turns into like science fiction. An example of this would be like, it was this book that I read, it was like How to Be a Serial Killer or something like that. And spoilers for that book, but like it turns out, so basically the main character, he's a psychopath. He doesn't want to become a serial killer. So he has like a bunch of rules to make sure he doesn't become a serial killer. There is another character who he believes is a serial killer, and so he has to break a lot of his rules from like flying off the deep end to investigate this supposed serial killer, and then it ends up being an alien. And I was like, what? You know, and this is like 3/4 into the book that you find out that he's an alien, and it's just like, what?
Yeah.
I think it's fine to like mix genres, but
that sounds jarring though.
Yeah, because it was just like, I picked this up to read a mystery, not aliens.
So this is about a music video, but it is related. So I like the band Falling in Reverse, and I say that knowing that the lead singer is a terrible person. And there's a lot of controversy around him, but like they just released a new single called Zombified, and like you watch the music video and it's all zombies, but then at the end it's randomly aliens, and I'm like, but why though?
Yeah.
What purpose do these aliens serve? So yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
It just feels kind of random a lot of the time.
Yeah, and another example of that would be, have you guys ever seen the Nicolas Cage movie, The Knowing?
Yeah.
So it went from like paranormal to aliens, and I didn't like that because it was just like, if you like, I get that you're trying to like subvert my expectations, but like maybe do that within the genre, especially if like the majority of the book or movie or show has been in this one area. Because if it goes from like ghosts to aliens, then it's like, that's cheap. You know?
Is that kind of what Signs was?
Signs was aliens from the beginning.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
I never saw that one. But
yeah.
And then in the Indiana Jones, the newest movie, he's mostly like an archaeologist. He like investigates like shit. And the last movie, it goes to aliens, and I was like, why? What? Where do aliens come into this? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Me neither.
I like aliens. I think it's a great genre, alien genre, but I don't like it when it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's hard to mix in aliens when you already have a pre-established world. Like, if you have already established a world and then all of a sudden it's aliens, it's very hard to pull that off. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but if you have aliens from the get-go, like in something like War of the Worlds or Signs, it's apparently Signs, it's a little easier to have them justifiably there. I don't know why it's like that for aliens specifically, but sorry, go ahead.
So like, if there's mystery, you do want to make it so like your readers won't guess the ending. I get that, but it's like, if it's something so off the wall, then it's like, that doesn't count. You know,
this is the one that I was saying. It kind of goes along with some of the like not like other girls and attractive but doesn't know it tropes, which is the ugly duckling, which usually specifically is that she has glasses, and then you take her glasses off and all of a sudden she's like super hot, and I'm like,
oh look, I'm pretty now.
She looked the same. You just took her glasses off.
But that's the plot of She's All That, right? I haven't seen that.
I don't know. I haven't seen
essentially
that one.
Mandy Moore, yeah.
No.
Like, anyone ever thought, actually, that I feel like that fits a little bit into Cool Losers as well. That's a good one for Cool Losers, because it's just like, as beautiful as Mandy Moore is, you're gonna tell me no one was into
the same with like A Walk to Remember.
Yeah,
Mandy Moore in A Walk to Remember, she's a loser, and I'm like, she's so stunning.
Like, at least with the Princess Diaries movies, they like frizzed out Anne Hathaway's hair, and she was very good at acting awkward. Like, she didn't know how to live in her own body.
Yeah.
And so like, that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I think that was something where it was done well, because like I still think Anne Hathaway's attractive, but like
yeah. But they had also made her eyebrows all bushy and made her hair all crazy, and like they did more than just like, okay, we took her glasses off and now she looks like a completely different person. Like they gave her a full makeover.
Yeah.
But even there, like the ugly duckling narrative of like she was ugly and now she's pretty and therefore she has more value is just frustrating to me. I'm like,
that's true.
Also, that's like ableist, because it's like, I know with I'm wearing contacts right now, but like with my prescription, like I cannot do anything without my glasses. Like
Same.
I can't. So
Same.
it's just like
I have just enough of an astigmatism where like contacts are not a good idea for me. So
yeah, I have special lenses for my astigmatism because I have really bad eyes and I cannot see without contacts or glasses.
Yeah, so with that,
so it's very ableist. Like,
yeah, it's like if you don't look like you need a visual aid or something, then you're attractive, then you're okay. Then it's like,
it's dumb.
Except glasses are in now.
Yeah.
As far as style is going.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will just buy not fake glasses, but like non-prescription glasses and just wear them.
Yeah. Which, how about like when people started doing that, I would wear contacts with fake glasses because I was like, that's more attractive than wearing my real glasses.
No, I would do that too.
Why did I do that?
The 3D glasses, like from the movies, and you would just put it.
Those exact lens. Those frames were so cool, and I was like, my frames are dorky or whatever. It was dumb. It was so dumb. I can't believe we did that.
I know. But it was like the thing, yeah.
It was. That was also college, like, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like college.
That was around the time that like I graduated high school and my freshman year.
But also like those kind of frames were not very affordable at that time either. So like a lot, I like could like if I wanted to get those pairs, it would be like $300 like in 2000 like 10 12.
Yeah. Glasses in general are very expensive. This is another tangent we're gonna go on, but like, why are they so expensive? They are necessary. Why do we have to pay like $200 for like glasses that are somewhat stylish? Like, I have to wear them. Like,
also, why is vision separate from like
healthcare?
Insurance?
Yeah,
like my eyes are still a part of my health.
Yeah,
I know. It's a scam.
Yeah, it is.
The trope is weird description of boobs.
Oh yeah.
I don't like it. The way they move, the way they look. It's so weird. And like I know.
No, go ahead.
There's that. I don't know if it's like I think it's a Twitter, but it's just like men writing or something like that.
Yeah.
BuzzFeed has compiled those a couple of times.
Yeah. Because it's so, and it's almost always, if not like just completely always, like it's always male writers, and it's just like I have never thought of my boobs that way, or any other.
Like, stretch in the morning and be super aware of what my boobs are doing.
No,
like, I'm not even sure what they were doing right now when I did that.
Yeah, I'm not nearly as aware of what my boobs are doing as like men think I am.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't know, like they never think of like their pecs. Like, you know, in general. Yeah, I recently read a book called Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, and it's a long book, but like there are multiple times where he will describe like women's breasts, and it's just like,
why do you need to describe them in the first place?
Yeah, like even
everyone knows what breasts look like.
Yeah, like even elderly women, he'll like describe them, and it's just like,
no,
why?
Just give us an age and like a gender, and we'll know approximately what they look like.
Yeah.
And it's like, there isn't any like part of the body that he chooses for like the male characters or anything that he always like consistently.
You mean he didn't go into details about their throbbing members?
No. I did have to think about it because there are some gross scenes in there, but
I saw your TikToks about Pillars of the Earth. I enjoyed your TikToks so much. They were so good.
I hate that book with a fire.
Yeah.
That book was the worst. It was actually the worst. I could go into that, but I will not.
Gay, but only for you. Drives me nuts. Either
it like gay as in I'm gay, but I like you even though you're...
No, gay, but only for you is in I am straight, except that I have fallen for you. And I'm like...
You're bi.
You're bi. You're bi.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And I think the reason that one bugs me is because I'm bi. And so I'm like, it's not an exception to your straightness. You're just not straight.
And you can be like mostly into the opposite gender and only a little bit of the same gender, but you're
bi
still
people have preferences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there an example of where you've seen this recently?
It's mostly in TV shows, I think, but I have noticed it in books too sometimes, and I can't think of like a lot of examples, but it's just like it's bi erasure is what it is, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
Because I was trying to think of example, because I feel like I have seen that in a book, but like I can't think of it right now. You know.
Yeah.
There's an Ellen Hopkins book, and it's kind of the reverse of that, where like he's gay, but then he falls for a girl. And so that would be, and part of it is like there's like some trauma involved in why he thinks because he was assaulted by a man. And so like, and obviously you're going to have a biological response. So he thought that it meant that he was gay, but he's probably bi or something. Impulse, that's what it's called. And Ellen Hopkins is kind of tricky because she writes about a lot of edgy topics.
Yeah.
Oh, is she the one who wrote like Crank?
Yeah.
And okay.
And so and Burned was the first one I read because my friends were like, this character's Mormon, you should read it. And, yeah,
that must have been jarring.
It was an experience.
I've never read any of her books, but there's probably a good reason for that.
Yeah, well, Burned isn't exactly accurate about Mormonism, and it's not like I'm here to defend Mormonism or anything, but it was still not accurate.
Yeah.
So,
do you like Ellen Hopkins?
I do. Well, I haven't read her in a while, but like I remember really liking her as a teenager in my early 20s. I do like how she plays with form because it's poetry, like it's little vignettes of poetry, and you can read the poem like as a whole, but then like if you read it in different ways, because it like she'll have words separated sometimes, and like the words that are separated out will be their own message, and so that's kind of cool. I do think if I went back and read her now, she would come across as a little bit gratuitous because she does use rape a lot. She does use drug abuse a lot. So she's writing these teenage stories that are like the extreme ends of being a teenager. And those are definitely important stories to be told. But like she's made a career off of it. And so there's something iffy about that. I'm curious what I would think if I went back and read her. I think she's moved on to adult fiction. The last several books I heard from her, I think, were geared towards adults. So
this wasn't one that I wrote down, but I was thinking when we were talking about A Curse So Dark and Lonely, Beauty and the Beast retellings where the beast is not ugly. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of the whole point of the narrative.
Yeah, I just want him to be a beast of some kind. Like I think in A Curse So Dark and Lonely, like he ended up being like a monster at the end. But like the whole time, because it's just like if he's beautiful, then it's like that's an easy curse to break in a way, you know? Well, no, I guess if they suck, then it's not easy, but attraction goes a long way, I think, when trying to get someone to fall in love with you.
Yeah, that one makes sense. It's not something that particularly bothers me, but like I can see why it would, because it does kind of defeat the purpose of the narrative, which is like that you're looking beyond appearances to fall in love. Yeah,
because otherwise don't tell me it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling.
Yeah.
Just write it.
I do think some retellings are like, he's a beast because he's a terrible person, but then it's like,
Oh.
why are you falling in love with him then? What would be cool is if it was like a literal hag that was the beast, and it was still a woman, and then like it was a lesbian story instead. That sounds like
you should write that.
I should write.
Write it down quick.
Yeah.
I feel like I recently read a lesbian Beauty and the Beast.
But was there a hag?
No, actually, no. Because it was Rapunzel. Never mind.
Ooh, that sounds cool. This is getting ahead of ourselves, but under my love column, I just put the gays. So we can talk about that when we do our love one.
Yeah.
That's just a little sneak preview.
Yeah. My last trope that I hate is best friend's lover, where you steal your best friend's lover. That's just cruel. It's just cruel.
Yeah.
To pit two best friends against each other over a guy, or two guy best friends over a girl. No.
Mm-hmm.
No. Have a threesome and get it over with. Don't steal your person's person.
Yeah. No, I don't like cheating like almost at all in fiction.
Yeah.
Like I don't. It gives me the ick.
Yeah.
It makes me really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it is super mean, and especially if it's a best friend, then it's like someone is losing not only like someone they love like romantically, but then like someone they love the most platonically. So it's just a huge betrayal.
Yeah. Have either of you read The Bone Clocks?
No.
It's a very good one. I highly suggest it. But it starts with a teenage girl finding out that her best friend and her boyfriend are sleeping together. So
I don't like that.
And I was like,
have you mentioned that one before? Because that sounds familiar.
The Bone Clocks?
Yeah.
Potentially. It's I think it's David Mitchell.
That's why. Okay.
But the cheating on your best friend trope reminded me of, again, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, when Willow and Xander, for some reason, need to be together out of nowhere. I did not like that. Even though like Xander wasn't best friends with Werewolf Guy, and like Willow wasn't best friends with Cordelia, they still were kind of in a friend group.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I was like,
I also really liked Willow with Werewolf Guy. And they just, as a show, like decided they were done with that and just did a very terrible job of like ending that relationship. But they did that with Willow again after she figured out she was a lesbian.
Oh yeah, the end of Willow and Tara was just devastating. Yeah. That was a bury your gaze. It was a full-on bury your gaze, I was like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
I loved Willow and Tara.
I did too. I love Tara.
And they weren't without problems. They definitely had problems. Like Willow mistreated Tara for sure, but like
she magically gaslighted her.
Oh yeah. But I loved Tara. It was devastating for me.
So Willow just couldn't cut a break romantically.
Yeah.
From the showrunners.
Yeah.
They just love to see her sad.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just like, you have really good sad face. We're gonna make you sad all the time on the show. Just kidding, but
yeah.
Cheating is not fun.
No, it's not. It's not fun at all.
No.
It's not fun in real life. It's not fun in fiction. It's just.
No, I don't.
It's
like
just
it.
devastating.
It like gives me like a very physical like negative reaction.
Yeah.
Not actually. I don't throw up or anything, but I'm just like.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
Yeah. I get what you mean though. Like it makes me feel really tense, but not in a good way. Like not in like the romantic tension kind of way, but in the like I want to die sort of way.
Yeah, because it's just like when you're reading a book, like you're empathizing with the character that you are reading about. And if I was ever cheated on, like I would be distraught.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff. And keep an eye out for more videos on our channel. We're planning on doing one where we talk about the tropes that we like. So stay tuned. Bye!